It was a crisp Monday morning at St. Mercy General Hospital, the kind of day where the air carried a faint chill and the hospital hummed with its usual controlled chaos. Doctors shouted orders, nurses darted between rooms, and the incessant ringing of phones punctuated the urgency. But at 9:17 a.m., time seemed to freeze. The automatic glass doors slid open, and a German shepherd strode in, purposeful and unyielding, with a small, motionless girl draped across his back. Her arms hung limply, her clothes stained with dirt and blood. The hospital staff stopped dead in their tracks. A receptionist's pen hovered mid-air. A doctor's conversation trailed off. The dog's paws clicked against the polished linoleum, each step echoing in the stunned silence. His eyes, sharp and pleading, locked onto the front desk as he approached carrying his fragile burden. No one knew where he had come from. No owner trailed behind. No collar tags jingled. The girl, no older than 8, was unconscious, her pale face streaked with grime. For a moment, the staff stood paralyzed, unsure whether to act or call for help. A nurse named Karen, her heart pounding, was the first to move. She crouched slowly, her hands trembling as she reached for the girl. The dog's low growl rumbled through the air, not aggressive but a warning born of fear. His stance was protective, his body tense, as if daring anyone to harm the child. Karen's voice softened to a whisper. "It's okay, boy. I'm here to help." The dog's eyes flicked to hers, assessing. Then, as if satisfied, he stepped back just enough to let her lift the girl. Karen cradled the child, her small frame alarmingly light, her skin cold and clammy. "Pediatric emergency," Karen shouted, her voice cutting through the fog of shock. The hospital snapped into action. Nurses pushed a stretcher forward, doctors rushed to the trauma bay, and someone slammed the code blue button. The girl was whisked away, but the image of the dog carrying her lingered in every mind. Behind the chaos, the German shepherd followed, his steps deliberate. A security guard moved to block him, but hesitated. The dog wasn't fleeing or causing trouble. He was trying to stay close, as if tethered to the girl by an invisible bond. His eyes never left the trauma room doors. Inside, the girl was laid gently on a gurney. Monitors beeped as nurses attached wires and tubes. Her heart rate flickered erratically, her breathing shallow and uneven. Dr. Michael Simmons, the lead ER physician, leaned over her, his brow furrowed. "We're losing her," he muttered, his voice tight. Oxygen masks were secured, IV lines inserted, and vitals checked in a flurry of practiced precision. Yet one question loomed over the room. Who was she? No identification, no guardian, no clues. Only the dog who had brought her here. Outside the trauma room, the German shepherd paced, his nails clicking anxiously on the floor. Each time the door swung open, he lunged forward, only to be stopped by a gentle hand or a closed door. His short, frustrated whines tugged at the staff's hearts. A nurse named Sarah, moved by his desperation, waved off the security guard. "Let him stay close," she said softly. The doors parted, and the dog trotted to the girl's bedside, sitting vigilantly. He watched every movement, the flicker of monitors, the hands adjusting IVs, with an intensity that silenced the room. Whispers passed among the staff. What was this bond? Why had he brought her here? As doctors fought to stabilize the girl, the hospital buzzed with a new mission: unravel the mystery. Karen checked the dog's collar, hoping for answers. The worn leather band held no tags, no microchip, no name, nothing to trace his origins. Security pulled surveillance footage, rewinding to the moment the dog appeared. The grainy video showed him emerging from the dense tree line bordering the hospital, the girl draped over his back. He paused briefly at the automatic doors, then stepped inside with purpose. The staff exchanged stunned glances. This wasn't a stray wandering in. This was deliberate. The dog had chosen St. Mercy General. A security guard dialed local authorities, his voice tense. "We need a search team in the woods behind the hospital. Something's out there." By late afternoon, park rangers and a canine unit arrived, following the trail from the footage. The German shepherd, now nicknamed Hero by the staff, growled, softly as the team pointed toward the forest. It was as if he understood they needed to retrace his path. The search led through tangled underbrush and muddy ground, the air thick with the scent of pine and decay. After nearly an hour, they found it, a makeshift camp hidden under a canopy of branches. A tattered tarp sagged over scorched firewood. Food wrappers littered the ground, and a blood-stained cloth hung over a log. A cracked phone, its screen shattered, lay in the dirt. Most chilling was a single small shoe, identical to the one on the girl's foot. An officer's voice dropped to a whisper. She was here and she wasn't alone. Back at the hospital, the girl's condition stabilized, though she remained unconscious in the ICU. Hero refused to leave her side. Nurses brought him water and laid a blanket beside her bed, where he curled up, his eyes fixed on her shallow breaths. Staff members snapped photos, their awe palpable. Many had worked decades in the ER, but none had seen anything like this. Just before dawn, a faint gasp broke the silence. The girl's eyelids fluttered, her gaze unfocused at first, then settling on the dog. "Scout," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The dog's ears perked, and he let out a hopeful whine, his head lifting. A nurse rushed to call Dr. Simmons, but no one could tear their eyes from the scene. Scout stood gently, resting, his snout on the bed's edge, huffing softly as if to say, "You're safe now." Tears welled in the eyes of everyone in the room. A child psychologist, Dr. Emily Carter, arrived later that morning. Sitting beside the girl, she listened as the child's hoarse voice began to piece together the story. "His name is Scout," she said, her small hand stroking the dog's head. "He's my best friend." Her name was Lily, she revealed, and she was 7 years old. Her story came in halting fragments. A man claiming to be her uncle had taken her from her home weeks ago. At first, he was kind, promising adventures in the woods. But his demeanor shifted. He grew angry, shouting, and then violent. Scout had tried to protect her, barking and snarling, but one night the man struck her. Lily's memory blurred after that, but she remembered Scout staying close, even as she slipped into darkness. "He wouldn't leave me," she said, clutching his fur. The hospital staff listened in stunned silence. Scout hadn't just found help. He had defied danger to save her. Dr. Simmons confirmed the grim details: bruises, fractured ribs, and signs of prolonged exposure to the elements. "If she'd arrived even 30 minutes later," he said, his voice heavy, "we would have lost her." Scout had navigated miles of dense forest, carrying Lily to the one place he knew could save her. His instincts, his loyalty, had defied all odds. Investigators returned to the woods with renewed urgency. Lily's description, combined with Scout's trail, led them to a nearby town. The suspect, a disheveled man in his 40s, was apprehended trying to board a bus. Her missing belongings were found in his backpack, and his story unraveled under questioning. He was no uncle, just a predator who had exploited a vulnerable child. The media descended on St. Mercy General within hours, headlines blazing. K9. Hero saves abducted girl. Dog walks into ER with a miracle. Reporters clamored for photos of Scout, but he ignored the cameras, staying curled beside Lily's bed, waiting for her next smile. With her real family still untraceable, child services placed Lily in emergency foster care. She had one non-negotiable condition. "Scout comes with me." Officials hesitated, citing regulations, but the bond between girl and dog was undeniable. No one could bear to separate them. In their new foster home, Scout adapted quickly, following Lily to every meal, sleeping by her bed each night. The hospital held a small ceremony to honor him, draping a red ribbon over his shoulders as the staff applauded. Scout didn't understand the fanfare, but when Lily hugged him tightly, he stood tall, his tail wagging faintly. Months later, Scout was nominated for the National K9 Bravery Award. He wasn't a trained rescue dog, yet his actions had outshone even the most disciplined service animals. Lily, now recovering with her foster family, attended the ceremony, her hand resting on Scout's head. The audience rose in a standing ovation as their story was told. A tale of loyalty, courage, and an unbreakable bond. Scout didn't care for the applause or the headlines. For him, it was enough to be by Lily's side, where he had always belonged.